and welcome back to RuneScape Suggestion Saturday video. Not a RuneScape, well this is a RuneScape themed one. But anyway, this episode there was an idea I had seen on the forums a little while ago. I rather actually liked the idea, like the title of it, and then when I first seen it I noticed there's a lot of information here. Now I'm not going to go over all the information for the sake of the video, because I don't want to have you guys be kept here too long. But this can be found on RuneScape's official forums, and if you want to support the idea, you can show your support in the video itself or on the forums themselves. I'm sure whomever Ajita Sage is would really appreciate getting their idea out there. Without any further ado, though, the idea is a Pest King tower defense. Now, after reading over the idea, if you're not familiar with what tower defense games are, I can actually I'll look one up here for you. What they actually are, and it's well, yeah, right here actually is kind of a similar aspect. Plants vs. Zombies is something kind of similar to one. But essentially what you do, okay, this is one that actually kind of has a good overview of it. Here's a good one that has a good overview of how they are. Now it would be a RuneScape themed, it'd be different graphics of course in this one, probably a bit less cartoony than that, but essentially what you do is you have well, the enemies come through and they try to go to a certain point. Which point they're going for here, I'm not sure. Probably this is the end point on the left side. But essentially what you gotta do is you gotta build up your defenses how you want them to be, and they go through and you have to defeat your enemies. And instead of just making it a whole new thing, a whole new area, what they're doing is they're having a Pest King tower defense. Now, if you're not sure what the pests are in this game, pests would often refer to the Void Knight outpost, because you have different pests that go through and you actually fight them directly and destroy portals, and that's how you get your points in this. Now, essentially, it's just like anything else. Enemies have different types of defenses, speed, hit points, the types of people you use, they have different effects. There's a lot to these kind of games, but it comes down to the simple principles that you have, these things that you have to have set up to go through, and then they try to stop all your enemies by the end. So it's relatively simple. It's just they have a lot of information about all the different types of pests in here. They even have new ones in here from the looks of it. But I think it's really good, and it doesn't actually require people to have combat. It requires people to just have strategy. And for RuneScape, that would be an awfully different type of minigame than usual for them. And I think it's a good idea. It's a very solid idea. I would love to see minigames like this. And one thing, speaking of minigames, I keep coming back to minigames for these kind of videos. That's because I think they're possibly the ones that need the most attention. And so the Pest King tower defense, I love it. It doesn't require a bunch of other people. It just requires you to go there and set it up. And I think that's great. And I think that is actually a good way to have, minigames go, where it doesn't always require a bunch of people. I think that's been the downfall of a lot of their minigames. And also, one thing I used to love Okay, I cut part of that out because I wanted to go through a search here. Um, but another thing I wanted to point out is something I've been kind of disappointed with that they did, but I like at the same time, and that is actually their side thing of Fun Orb. Because now there's a lot of mini games they have, and it's all from Jaggeds themselves. And the disappointing reason behind this is that a lot of these have mass potential for being really good games. And for, well, they could have been Dungeoneer or RuneScape mini games. That's my thought. Minor Disturbance, that would have been a great mining minigame. Arcanist, that would have been a really fun, really competitive minigame. I mean, they can actually still incorporate these minigames into RuneScape. And I think this is what a lot of minigames are kind of missing. But the biggest one is this one right here. And okay, it's actually trying to load it. I kind of just wanted to go into what it's about, but it looks like I'm not going to be able to do that. Oh, okay, here we go. See, this kind of crosses into the idea of what I was thinking about with bringing, updating the mobilizing armies in RuneScape. It's kind of like a mixture of this and ports and a whole bunch of things like combined together. Because this is actually a really good game. It's really fun, and it doesn't, demand a lot from the game. But another one I at least thought was pretty good was Dungeon Assault. You set up your own dungeon, and then people try to take it over. Well, they try to battle it and go through it and win. The treasures that are in the center. So I think something like this would be a good idea too. They can attach a lot of lore to both types of games. So yeah, I mean, a tower defense game, that'd be great. Because like, when it comes to mini games, we got to look at like what makes a mini game fun. And right now, a lot of the mini games in RuneScape, while they are good, there's not a whole lot of variety. There's not a whole lot of spice of life. It's kind of a lot of the same thing over and over and over again. So if they could change that, if they could mix like these different, more unique ones, it would give them more. It would give them more of a demand for the combat ones that are currently there. And I think that would be the right direction, is if you introduce more, it gives more variety. And people wouldn't, maybe despise certain ones as much. And also, I mentioned this on a different video too. The ones that do exist now, all the combat ones like Castle Wars, Soul Wars, Steel and Creation, is since there is such a low demand for minigame plays right now, what they could do is, instead of trying to host all these events or players hosting events here and there and like trying to get groups together, or even the Thaler system, which is a good system, don't get me wrong, but I think what they could do instead of trying to constantly like to bring back life into these mini games is to introduce artificial intelligence, AI, into these games. They did it with the like the World Event 1. It's currently present in God Wars Dungeon 2. They just need to make it a little smarter, but it would have to depend on the type of game. Like if it was just a full big battle like Soul Wars is, having the AI trying to do things as well as interrupt the player or players, that would be great. Something like Castle Wars, you should kind of try to be balanced of having people trying to defend and having stuff like try to stop the flag people and like everything like that. If they could make an AI that would work for mini games, that would be the best way to fix them. introducing more ideas like this one, it's very unique for the game, that would be fantastic. So that, to me, that's how you could fix mini games, bring new mini games in, and just make them more in demand. Also, the reward systems still are just a tad bit broken, because a lot of things in RuneScape is if it meets an XP ratio or if it meets a certain money making ratio, then people will do it. And if it's too low on both ends, people won't do it. Right now, minigames are low on all ends compared to everything else. So that's my, little thing about minigames. This Pest King Tower Defense, love it. Think it's an awesome idea. If you want to go for more detail yourself and check it out, just search the quick find code here. I'll link it down below. But it's a good idea. All you have to do is just go to the RuneScape website itself, and then you just highlight it like that. Well, yeah, you'll highlight the code, put it into the search bar in the forums. Make sure you don't have any spaces before or after, because that can mess with it. And then all you have to do is just hit enter. It'll take you right to it, just like that. Alright, well that'll do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, later guys.